Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD podcast. We'll be right back with this week's Toolbox Extra guest. But as always, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Now, don't hit that fast forward button. These are all companies that I used as an AD. They're all great companies. I highly recommend you check them out. So take those 3 minutes, listen to our shout outs, then listen to our guest, then go and visit each one of these sponsors. I tell you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to thank Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack for their support of the podcast. You know, if you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your student athletes, your coaches, or your parents, you're really missing out. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that connects you with all of your stakeholders. The data that you're going to collect, incredibly valuable. That's athleticsurveys.com. We also want to thank Hometown for their support. Hometown's changing the game for schools and organizations with things like fee-free fundraising. How about digital ticketing? They're still the number one provider. Athletic website construction, the list just goes on and on. Whether you're an athletic director, a head coach, or a principal, Hometown is going to show you how to save time, raise more money, and bring your community together. That's hometown.com. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. Probably one of the best purchases I ever made. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Schedule that live web demo today. We also want to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and let their team turn you into a social media marketing guru. Whether it's a social media post to celebrate a win or a newsletter to showcase all the great things your department is doing, the team at Gipper is going to show you how to create newsletters and posts that look professional and match your visual identity. It's easily shared through email, social media, or others. Go to Gipper.com to get started. And don't forget to mention the podcast. We also want to say thanks to Ohio University and their online masters for athletic administration. My assistant AD, along with thousands of others, got his master's through the Ohio program, and while they were earning their degree, they also completed 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Let's also say thanks to Home Campus. Home Campus is one of those platforms you're going to use every single day, whether it's scheduling, rosters, results. Their athletic eligibility and clearance platform alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com to get signed up. That's homecampus.com. We also want to say thank you to Snap Mobile, particularly Snap Raise. If you've ever spent weeks and weeks with a fundraiser and been disappointed in the results, well, those days are gone. Go to Snap Raise and check out their other great platforms. But if you're looking for a fundraiser, you just found it, and it's Snap Raise. Let's also say thank you to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years. As an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com. Your coaches, your student athletes, and your parents are going to love all the tools. Join the 8 million users and turn your school into a Huddle school. And we want to say thanks to Vital Signs Wall of Fame. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your school record board or your school's Hall of Fame, check out their interactive touch screen video consoles. You put one of these units in your gym lobby or your main school hallway, it's going to be like a magnet for kids, for coaches. How about sponsors? The website is vitalsignswalloffame.com. Check them out today. And as always, don't forget to mention the podcast, Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Welcome back, everybody, to another Toolbox Extra on the Educational AD podcast. Regular listeners will certainly recognize the name Cari Wood as one of our regulars. If you're new to the podcast, Cari's got an incredible background in athletics as an athletic trainer. Oh, by the way, she's in the Oregon. She's also in the National Athletic Trainers Hall of Fame. She spent her career primarily at Redmond High School in the Redmond School District. That's Central Oregon. once again, tremendous background. And she's retired, but she's still on the job, still serving kids, coaches, and ADs. Cari Wood, welcome back to the
Hey, thanks,
Toolbox
Jake.
Extra.
Good to see you again.
Oh no, we were talking before, the life of a retired athletic person, but we still get pulled back in, I guess, in a good way. I'm going to get out of the way here. What do you have for our listeners on this segment of the Athletic Trainers Toolbox Extra?
Well, today I wanted to talk a little bit about emergency action plans and a shorter version of that that might be helpful to ADs and athletic trainers out there. Um, I know you just asked me what I was doing now, and I feel like I'm getting a small, very small taste of some of the things that athletic directors do behind the scene that I didn't know before because I'm working as event manager at my school now, just helping out the AD there. So I'm getting to see some of the things that I'd forgotten about that you don't see as an athletic trainer. We kind of all do our own thing, but it's been nice to see that side of it. But today, so I think everybody knows how important emergency action plans are when you have a bad, tragic emergency that everything needs to run smoothly in order to get that athlete or patient the best care that you can. Um, and I know that we're supposed to practice them yearly, and that is preached. But I also know in the real world that's hard to do. It's hard to get everybody in one place. It's hard to get all those moving pieces together and really practice that. And I don't want to say that you shouldn't. You really absolutely should be practicing that. But I'm going to give you a quicker version of something we also do that might help to brush up on those emergency action plans and not have to do the full one if you can't get to it that year for some reason. So what we call trainers like to call this a medical timeout. And it again, it's not a replacement for hands-on practice, but it will help short versions. And so basically what it is a quick meeting, and I'll go into a little more detail prior to each big event with everybody who could and will be involved in an emergency. And what's good about it is that everybody's already there because you're there working the event. Um, if you do it right before the event, it's fresh in everybody's mind. Everybody knows their role and what they're supposed to do, and it really only takes about 5 minutes to do this. And so this is something that when I was still practicing that we did at Redmond High School before football games. And it was really helpful. And we did have one big emergency during that time that afterwards the AD came over and he was just smiling. He said, "Hey, everything went perfectly." And I was like, "I know, I love it. I love it." And everybody knew exactly what they were supposed to do and did their role. And nobody was running around saying, "Hey, is so and so out at this place?" And so it is super helpful. And I'm hoping that it might be something that other ADs can implement at their school with the assistance of their athletic trainer. So how it starts is we have a form and grab it. And basically it on it, it has everybody lists their name and phone number and what their job is at that event. And so basically it's just to fill out this form. And then also it has other where are the AEDs on site? Where are the secondary AEDs? All of these things, directions to the hospital, so you can hand it right to a visiting parent or visiting team to go right to the hospital so they don't have to look it up on their phone. Most does it have just everything that the physical address of where you're at. So if somebody needs to call 911 and they don't know the actual address, they can look right on that form also. So all of this information, and for us it was a 2-page form front and back. And basically our AD would fill this out before each football game of who's working what position and have their phone number on there and phone numbers of the important people. And then we would send that out to all those people on that list. And so when they know it, and they will print this out, and then he would also send out, okay, we're going to meet at 6:15 before the football game over in this spot in front of the concession stands. So that's all the pre-work that has to be done. So then we would kind of run this meeting together, the AD and I. Sometimes he'd just let me take it. Sometimes if I was busy with an athlete that I couldn't step away, he would run the meeting. So it was really a team effort and we both knew what was going on. So let's go through some of the things. So we have the athletic trainer, athletic director, all the admin that are there, the announcer, you want to involve the announcer, ticket takers, because our ticket taker is in charge of opening the gate and clearing the crowd for the ambulance to come in. So we involve her. Resource officers, obviously, concession stands. If we have something that needs that somebody in the concession stands needs help with, if you can get your officials, that's great. Sometimes they're not quite there yet, but it's good to involve them if you can. And then also, if you are lucky enough to have EMS on site for your games, then they are good to involve as well. Kind of went through all the things that are on there. So basically, at this meeting, we get together, we just say, hey, okay, Jake, let's review. Your job today is to do this. Joe, your job is this. Susie, here's your job. And we just quickly review everybody's job. Some of the things, sometimes you'll have a new person that doesn't know. And so it's good for them to feel more comfortable about their position on what they're doing. And so it's just good to let everyone know what they're doing, it's fresh in their mind, so everything runs. I kind of like to compare it since we're talking about a football game. You can do this at all large events, of course, but we're talking about football season right now. So it's like you always tell your football players, do your own job. If you do your own job, everything works well. So we will win if we all do our own job. So everybody is very clear on what their job is. Um, some of the things, so obviously there's medical emergencies, and that's the first thing that we're concerned about. But some of the other things, as you know, that come up during big events that need to be addressed that are non-emergency. What about the decision to evacuate? So if it's weather, like a lightning storm, one, who's going to make that call? Who makes that final decision on it's time to shut the game down and we need to evacuate? So you're going to make that clear at the beginning. Who's making that call and what do we do then? So then it has to go up to the announcer, right? So the announcer needs to have an announcement to say, we are delaying the game for lightning. Here's where you need to go. So that announcer needs to know where are the spectators going to evacuate to? What's the safest place for them to go to? Where are the players supposed to go? The visiting athletes probably don't know where they're supposed to go. So that announcer needs a script or needs to know how they're going to announce everything. And then when can they return? How are you going to tell people they can come back to the game? So I know we had a printed out lightning script that we just kept up in the booth for our football games that it was always there just in case. So that's helpful to have because otherwise nobody knows what to do and the chance that there's a lightning delay. What about also evacuation? We hate thinking of this, but it's happening. What if there's a mass shooter or a safety incident? So again, how do we announce this to the people that they need to get out? Where are they supposed to run to? One of the things we discovered at our school is that we go around and lock all of the exterior gates before the football games, and there's only one gate that people can come in because we want them to pay, obviously, and so they're coming in that paid gate. So then we were like, what if we have a mass shooter? People are going to run in all of these different directions, and they're all going to be locked in. We're going to have one big yard full of people that are screaming and scared and can't get out because all the gates are locked. So we also, during our medical timeout, would say, okay, Jake, you're going to run to the south gates and you're in charge of unlocking those gates and helping people out that way. And so's in charge of the other gate. So we all had that in mind too. So again, there wasn't mass panic. Everybody knew where they're supposed to go to help people. And the announcer could say, we have an emergency, please calmly leave the facility if people didn't already know. So other non-medical emergencies, what about crowd control? So if you have an ambulance coming in, you need to get the crowd out of the way. So who's going to be in charge of that? I mentioned our ticket taker. We help with that. Our concession stands is near where the ticket taker is. So that's how we use our concession stands personnel as well. We say, hey, you guys, if there's an emergency, you guys are gonna be in charge of helping just clear people out of the way to get the ambulance in. You're gonna, the ticket taker, you're gonna go out and direct the ambulance and wave at them and show them where to come, even though they should already know because your athletic trainer should be meeting with your local EMS crew to help go over this in case of an emergency. But who's going to work with crowd control? And the other thing is, if you have a parent that can't get down onto the field and that's their student that's injured and they're transporting them, they're going to want to come down. And I don't, everybody's situation is a little bit different on how they can get on the field, but make sure that the parent of that kid can come down so they can be talked to let them know where they're going, what hospital, what's happening, and all that. And also the teams. I always had and this isn't really the AD situation, but they can help in this. I always had one coach that I said, if we have a bad injury, you're in charge of taking our teams away and moving them away, because a lot of times people want to huddle around a bad long-term injury, and that we don't need that. The athletic trainer is going to be focused on saving some kid's life or limb, and we don't need a bunch of people huddling over us, hollering and making chaos in the scene. So I always had one coach that you're in charge of controlling the kids. Please get the team out of the way and helping with that. So that's crowd control. I think so. Then we would have that meeting and then we were good. I mean, I think that's really it. I do want to say there, I'm going to add one more thing here at the end, but I do want to say thank you to, on behalf of athletic trainers, to the ADs, if you choose to have these meetings, because it really makes our job a lot easier, because then we know we can focus on the health of that athlete that's injured and can move forward with that. And we know that everything's running smoothly with the help of the AD in the background, shifting everybody around. So what do you think? Feedback?
Oh my gosh, no, it's incredible. Thanks so much for sharing. Again, whether you're a veteran AD or if you're a brand new AD, emergency action plans, you don't need it until you need it. Okay. And then you better have one. So that's kind of AD 101, maybe 102 is, as an athletic director, sit down with your head coaches, sit down with your athletic trainer, and begin putting together one. Do it for one venue at a time. Your football field, your main field, if you're playing soccer on that same field, or maybe it's your gym if you don't have football, but start with one of your venues. But if you have baseball, softball, if you have track, if you have a pool, have those emergency action plans, and don't just create it and then put the document on a shelf and forget about it. Make sure that your people, again, the trainer, your security people, facilities people, your principal, that they know their role. I even heard of a coach that once had their soccer coach pretend during the middle of practice that he kind of passed out and maybe having a heart attack, just to see how well
Like
the kids and the coaches knew the routine. And he was standing off to the side. Nobody could see him as the AD, but the assistant coaches responded. They were about ready to start CPR when he goes, "No, hey, I'm okay." And and so it was a good talking point for them. And I always said, "Boy, I'm going to do that at one of my schools," but I never did it. But it's a great idea. Also, I love how you talked about when a kid is injured. And typically it's basketball because the fans are in such close proximity. We would talk to our coaches. We'd also talk to the kids. We actually had the trainer do this. If your teammate goes down, we know you're concerned, but you really can't help them. Stay on the floor, stay on the bench, stay with your team. And we would tell our coaches, you can go out there as a head coach, stay out of the trainer's way, but your assistant coach, their job is to keep everybody else from hovering over that athlete and creating what sometimes can be, that big pity party where, the trainer can't do their job because the kids in their emotions and everything, and not to discount that, but they're making it harder than it should be. And for parents, we would really discourage parents
Yeah.
from coming onto the field, coming onto the floor. We tried to be there as an athletic staff, myself, the assistant ADs, et cetera. And, we would find that parent and we would go over to them. Well, hey, it looks like they just twisted their ankle, or, yeah, they got hit in the head, our trainer. And we had great trainers. We didn't have Cari Woods, but we had great trainers. And the trainer says, XYZ. And once we got them off the floor, off the field, into the training room, where it's a little more private, then, of course, we'd let the parents come in and see their kid. But communicating
Thank you
all
for
of that
that.
in advance was
Yes.
was very good for us. Again, let's do this for listeners. If you would like to get some more information, some more direction, you have an incredible resource right here. Cari, what's the best way that our listeners can connect with you to find out more?
You can email me at carriew2288 @gmail. And I would be more than happy to share this form that's already filled, already done for you. And all you'd have to do is just change the logo on the top and use that weekly or whenever for your big events. So happy to share why recreate the wheel. It's like I said, it's worked good for us. So
No, absolutely. Reach out to Cari, get that document. And I'm going to guess that most state athletic associations have a template that you could also use in conjunction with whatever you got from Cari. As she said, why reinvent the wheel? Find some different examples out there. But definitely, if you don't have an emergency action plan for your venues, you need to start on that right now.
agreed.
Cari, thanks again for sharing, taking time out of your busy, semi-retirement life. But as you know, we're definitely going to get you back on probably after the first of the year for another Toolbox Extra from the athletic trainer perspective.
Thank you.
Okay. For our listeners, we definitely want to say thanks to you and remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Toolbox Extra just about every week and just about every day. We try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please come back and join us again on the next episode of the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Another great resource there with Cari Wood. Make sure you reach out. And if you don't have that emergency action plan at your school, please take the time, set it up, get with your coaches, get with your trainer, get those templates, and put together an emergency action plan. Speaking of a plan, it's always a good plan to visit our sponsors. We want to say thanks to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com. Vital Signs Wall of Fame. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Sideline Interactive. You'll find them at sidelineinteractive.com. Home Campus, of course, it's homecampus.com. Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. You'll find them at Ohio University. Snap Raise, go to snapraise.com. Huddle. I was a football coach that used Huddle. I was an AD, and we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com. Hometown, go to hometown.com. And athletic surveys, you'll find them at athleticsurveys.com. Thanks again for listening to the Toolbox Extra. We'll see you next time on the Educational AD Podcast.